Hello and welcome to Books with Alison. I am Alison, and today we are talking about the book called Being Mortal by Atul Gawande. So, before we get started, I love this background. I wish my house looked like this, where I needed a ladder to get to all of my books. I would love to show my bookshelves like on my built-ins, but they're so messy and there's no room for all the books I have, and they're just kind of like piled in piles and on top of each other. And this is like my dream right here, to have like all my books lined up and really presentable and gorgeous. And I mean, want to have this many books. I feel like I'm getting close to it, but oh my goodness. So maybe one day I will be able to share my built-ins and what they actually look like with all my books piled up, and we can talk about interior decorating, but I have no idea how to do that. But anyways, let's talk about Being Mortal. So this was a fantastic book. I feel like I've been saying that about all the books I've been reading lately, but I really enjoyed it, especially from the view of a functional medicine physician, which is what I am, reading about traditional MDs and how they work with their patients and what they have such big hearts and they want to be able to help people, and how our desire to help in our medical culture has really overshadowed what's best for people at the end of their lives, at the end of their care. And he did a great job of going through the full spectrum of how do we treat our elderly, our parents, our grandparents, usually, by having them in nursing homes, hopefully down the street where we come to visit once in a while. And is that what they want? Typically, right, we find the answer is no, but what else can we do? Because a lot of times being at home, even living with family and taking care of your parents is either too difficult, too expensive. You still need home health care. There's not enough room in the home to have our parents there, or our relatives there. So he really dives into the history of uh, elderly care nursing homes and how they developed, why they developed, and what the current groups are doing to improve the stability and the sanitation and mobility of their patients, so they can live a life where they're comfortable and they're happy and they're free. Um, he also goes into the care of patients at the end of their life, whether it's from old age and we're just progressing naturally through our life, or maybe there's someone with an illness like cancer or something that is just destroying their body and they need more support as they're coming through the end of their life. He talks a lot about hospice and the current research on hospice and how more people who choose to be at home with those services tend to live longer with less pain and be more fulfilled. And what a wonderful resource I think not enough people know about. And clearly they don't, that hospice is an option for many people and can actually be more helpful. I really enjoyed his discussion with the people that were in his book. So he talked to patients, he talked to friends, he talked to researchers, and his take was that we need to ask our elderly, our patients, our parents what they want at the end of their life. What are their goals for the rest of their life? Do they want to stay mobile? Do they want to stay at home? Do they want to be close to friends? Is it a group of people that they want to stay close to, like a church group or a social group? And really helping them meet those goals. A lot of times doctors will get too involved in the micromanaging of symptoms. And he talks a lot about that, how if patients come in with high blood pressure and high cholesterol and back pain, we want to be able to fix those things. But for elderly patients, fixing isn't always the goal. We're never going to be able to keep someone alive and healthy and full of vitality for their whole life. We have to accept at some point that we need to focus on keeping them pain free and mobile and being able to eat food, all of those good things. He says, I am leery of suggesting the idea that endings are controllable. No one ever really has control. Physics and biology and accident ultimately have their way in our lives, but the point is that we are not helpless either. Courage is the strength to recognize both realities. We have room to act, to shape our stories, though as time goes on, it is in within narrower and narrower confines. A few conclusions become clear when we understand this: that the most cruel failure in how we treat the sick and the aged is the failure to recognize that they have priorities beyond merely being safe and living longer. that the chance to shape one's story is essential to sustaining meaning in life. We have the opportunity to refashion our institutions, our culture, and our conversations in ways that transform the possibilities for the last chapter of everyone's life. And essentially, that's what the whole book is geared to. How do we make life engaged and meaningful for people who are at the end? And he tells so many stories about nursing homes and places that bring in plants and animals and birds and dogs and children and preschools, and how activating that is for the patients because they find meaning and enjoyment and success in these interactions. While it may seem meaningless or pointless to bring a bird into a room or plants into a room of a person who you would think would have better things to do, right? But saying, all right, it's time to feed the birds, or all right, it's time to water our plants, and we do these things on schedule, and you're here because you're taking care of these things and these people and these animals as well, it really improved and given meaning. And for many of the people he interviewed, they were actually able to heal and go back to their homes because they found meaning in life and were able to feel better many times, especially after losing a spouse, something like that. So I definitely would recommend this book if you're interested in the medical field, if you're open to conversations around death and dying and taking care of your family members, if you're currently a caregiver and you're struggling trying to find a place for your loved ones to go, this is a great book to share options and resources and what to look for in a home to support not only you, but bring meaning, purpose, and love to your family's life. So I will definitely be reading his other books. He has quite a series out, so I'm looking forward to that. Let me know if you read this book, what you thought, if you enjoyed it, if you didn't, and also let me know what you're reading. I would love to hear. I'm always open for suggestions. Make sure you like and subscribe so that way you stay tuned with all of our weekly videos, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.